from the start. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us with Critical English. We're here with the grade 7 sessions, and we've been here with you for about 18 weeks, and this is our final session with you. It's been a good run. I found it very interesting being live, and it was also great interacting with the students. So on behalf of the team of teachers, I want to thank you on air for being here with us, and those who are in the audience as well who have joined several sessions, or if you have looked at the recordings, thank you again for being here and spending this time with us. I'm sure you must have learned something, even if it's one at all. So today we are going to wrap up this session with sentence errors, or common mistakes that people would make when they're writing sentences, or sometimes when they're speaking even. So we're going to go through them, and if you look on the screen, you should be able to see a few of them that we have. One is sentence fragment, the other is double negatives, the other is comma splice, few sentences, either or sentences, neither nor sentences, and we are going to talk a little bit about those. Obviously, these are not all the errors that you would find in the English language. There are many more. These are just some of them. So obviously, we're just going to have enough time to talk about those that you're seeing on the screen. So let's go into the first one. Sentence fragments. In our very first session, we spoke about clauses and what makes a sentence a sentence. It must have a subject, a verb, and it must make complete sense. So given that definition of a sentence, let's see what's this here. The boy who is a singer. We have a subject. What's the subject, Azaria? What's it about, or who is it about? The boy. Good. It has a verb, is, but does it make complete sense? The boy who is a singer. Does it say anything else?
He sings.
Yeah, we know he sings, but does the sentence make perfect sense as it stands? The boy who is a singer. It's like you're expecting something else, right? If they had said the boy is a singer, that makes complete sense. But because they have the boy who is a singer, you're expecting them to say something about the boy. The boy who is a singer is running late today, or the boy who is a singer can also play the guitar. That makes complete sense. Then you have the other one there, because I went to the dance. Now, I know usually your teachers will tell you do not start a sentence with because it would make complete sense. So look at that sentence, because I went to the dance. It has a subject, it has a verb, but it doesn't make complete sense because of the word that is used to start the sentence fragment, because. So what could we say to make it correct then? What do you think, Azaria?
I went to dance because.
Because what? I went to the dance because, or you can think of this case, you went to a party today, right? I went to the party because
It was still a school day.
it was a school day. Good, you see, the because is now qualified there. I went to the party because it was a regular school day, or because I wanted to go to the party, or because I was forced to go to the party, or because my friends wanted me to be at the party. So what we're looking at there is a sentence fragment. And when you think of fragment, think about a piece of something. It's not whole, it's broken up. So some persons have like fractured tooth, or if it's more than one, it will be teeth or bones, and those little pieces, you call them fragments. So sentence fragment means it's not an entire sentence, it's just part of a sentence, so it needs something else to complete it. All right, so let's go to the other one. So we know how to fix this one, Azaria? So you just need to ensure that the sentence makes complete sense by adding a few more words to make it shiny and nice. So then we have double negatives, and we are going to ask this question again. Now in math, remember you were doing the number line? So you have 0 in the center, and if you keep going one way, you're going to have positives, and on the other side of the table or the line, you're going to have negatives, correct? So let us say you are adding -1 and negative 3, what's going to happen? You're adding, so you're making it more. Remember the jumps that you had to do? I think I saw a few of your recordings with the jumps. So let's just think of it as negative and a negative will give you a
Negative.
positive. So for math, that's the rule. And if you add a negative number and another negative number, you're going to get a positive number. So if you add negative 1 plus negative 3, you are going to get positive 4. Doesn't make sense? Okay, I'm going to ask your math teacher to wrap up a little bit on that with you. But given that that's the case, let's look at some of these sentences that you have here. The first one is in Spanish, and the second example is in Ukrainian. Obviously, your teacher don't know Ukrainian, and she knows a little bit of Spanish, but I'm not even going to attempt to read this. But there's a Spanish of the word, and then there's a translated one. There isn't no problem. Let's try to understand what that is saying. There isn't. If I say there isn't, it means this thing isn't there, right? There isn't. What? Give me something. There isn't a bottle on the table. Let's just say that, right? There isn't a bottle on the table. So there isn't a problem. But the sentence doesn't say there isn't a problem. If the sentence has said there isn't a problem, it means that there is no problem. But the sentence says there isn't no problem. So if there isn't no problem, do we have a problem? Confusing? There isn't no problem. Do we have a problem? Do we don't have, or do we not have a problem?
We have a problem?
It means that we have a problem, right? So that's confusing. If we say there isn't no problem, let's look at the correct way of saying this exact thing. There isn't a problem. So when you say there isn't no problem, you have two negatives operating there, and that makes it a bit confusing, right? There isn't no problem. Or sometimes people will say there isn't nobody at home. So if there isn't nobody at home, that means that there is somebody at home. So in the way we can correct that one is saying there isn't anybody at home. So this way you don't have two negatives, you only have one negative in the sentence. So if you put two negatives against each other in the sentence, it's going to automatically make that negative thing that you're trying to say into a positive thing, and that can confuse what people are thinking. So let's look back at the example there, the correct version of it. There isn't a problem. If I say there isn't a problem, it means that there is no problem at all. But if I say there isn't no problem, it would basically mean there is a problem. But the person was trying to say there isn't a problem because the two negatives are coming against each other. A bit confusing? So to remember this one, remember there can only be one negative in the sentence. You can't put two negatives in the same sentence. Cool? Let's look at the other one now. So the Ukrainian one, I'll tell you why we have two languages in a few. I don't want nothing to eat. How does that make sense? Is it a bit confusing? I don't want nothing to eat. So if you don't want nothing to eat, then it means that you want
Something to eat.
you want something to eat, but that's not what they're trying to say, right? In English, we say, I don't want to eat anything. So instead of saying nothing, we replace the nothing to anything. So we're not using a no and another no. Make sense? So why this particular example has both Spanish and Ukrainian is because in these languages, when they use two negatives in one sentence, it's okay, it's not a problem. But when we're talking about English, it's going to be a problem if you're going to try to use two negatives in the same sentence. So another word we can use for there isn't no problem is there isn't any problem. Or the one where we said just there isn't nobody at home. How can we correct that one? There isn't anyone at home. And for this one here, I don't want to eat nothing. You replace the nothing with anything, because nothing is negative and nobody in the previous example was also negative. So we're not using double negatives. Now this one here is an interesting one. Comma splice. So it's a sentence. Well, let's figure out what's going on here before I say that. Julia began her prison sentence. What punctuation mark do we have there?
Comma.
We have a comma. She refused to wear prison clothes. What is wrong with this sentence? Something is wrong with it, but what? Julia began her prison sentence. She refused to wear prison clothes. So the first part, let's look at the first part of this sentence here. Julia began her prison sentence. Does that make complete sense on its own? Julia began her prison sentence?
Yeah.
It can stand on its own. It makes sense. It has a subject and it has a verb. So it's a sentence. The other part of it says she refused to wear prison clothes. Is this also a proper sentence? We have a subject, she. We have a verb there, refused to wear, and then we have prison clothes. As in, all of those words together make complete sense. So you put these two together. So instead of a comma, what should have been there? Look at the sentence. How can we correct it? Instead of a comma, because it's called a comma splice because the mistake was.
It's supposed to be a full stop.
It could have been a full stop, yes. So you have, because this one is a complete sentence on its own, it's an independent clause. It stands on its own, full stop, and then you start a new sentence. Let's look at the second one, and I'll tell you another way you can fix that as well. The emperor wants the magic golden spoon. Sorry, sword. You must deliver it to the emperor yourself. The emperor wants this, you must deliver it to the emperor yourself. Are these two independent clauses as well? Do both parts of this structure, do both sides of it make complete sense? Do they both have a subject? Do they both have a verb?
Yeah.
Yes. So again, we can put what there instead of a comma? A full stop. Okay, so if we do not want to use a full stop, what is another punctuation mark we can use?
Apostrophe?
No. Something that you use to separate two independent clauses.
Conjunction?
You can use a conjunction, yes, because you can say and, right? So you can use a conjunction. The emperor wants the golden sword, so you must deliver it to the emperor yourself. Yes, that can work as a conjunction. The other one, Julia began her prison sentence and she refused to wear prison clothes. So that can work, yes. So that's the second way we can solve this one. Here is a third way. Punctuation mark you can use when you're using two independent clauses side by side if you don't want to use a full stop and if you don't want to use a conjunction. Semicolon. So that's the one with the dot and the comma coming down at the bottom there. Semicolon. So semicolons are used to separate two independent clauses, but they must be related to the same thing. So you can't be talking about a ship and then you're talking about the pirate in the next one, and it doesn't match up. It needs to be related to the previous thing that you talked about. Cool? All right, let's continue. So this one here, fuse sentences. This one is also called run-on sentences, and it's a problem when you're writing. Grandfather is almost 80 years old. He is losing his hair. So let's look back at the one previously. This one here was called comma splice because the comma was placed incorrectly in that spot. Remember? Keep that in mind. Let's go to this one here now. This one is called fuse sentences. So the minute you hear fuse sentences, you are supposed to be imagining they are how many. Is there one sentence here? Or are there multiple sentences here?
Multiple.
Good, because there's sentences there, right? So it could be two or more. Let's try to identify them. Grandfather is almost 80 years old. He is losing his hair. Which part? Tell me what's the first sentence here. Good. That's a complete thought by itself. We have a verb, we have a subject. So the other part that's there is he is losing his hair, right? So how many sentences do we have in this one here?
2.
We have 2 sentences here. So the question is, how do we fix this? There are 4 ways of fixing this one.
He places a full stop between them.
What's that?
He places a full stop between them.
Good, you can place a full stop between them, so you have 2 entirely new sentences. But if you place a full stop there, you got to do something else with the first word in the second sentence. What do you have to do?
Change the letters to capital.
Good, ensure you capitalize it. Good, that's the first one. You put a full stop there and you make the first letter in the second sentence a capital letter. What's the second thing you can do to fix this sentence? Or fix this fuse sentence, the problem? What can we do to fix the problem? Remember just what we said? You can use which other punctuation mark between 2 independent clauses?
Colon.
Not
Semi.
a semicolon. So we can put a semicolon here because we're talking about the grandfather. Are we still talking about the grandfather in the other one?
Yeah.
But is the hair loss related to his turning 80? Yes, that's why we're using it. If the hair loss wasn't related to him turning 80, you couldn't have used it because they wouldn't really be connected. So because the hair loss is related to him and his age and so forth, you can use a semicolon. What's the next thing you can use? Maybe Alicia, you can tell us. You got it just now.
Conjunction.
A conjunction. So give me a conjunction and we can use. But he is using his hair, right? And there's one other way we can fix it. So we use a conjunction and he is using his hair. We can't use but, because if we use but, it will be like this thing is not supposed to happen really. Like I'm growing, but I haven't grown much, but I haven't grown much. That could be an example. The other way you can fix this here is, remember, both of these are independent clauses, but they can work together if we have one of them, we turn one of them into a dependent clause. Remember when we did that class? So dependent clause needs another sentence, which is called a independent clause, to help fix it, right? So we can have something like, since grandfather is almost 80 years old, he is losing his hair. And if we're doing that, what other punctuation mark needs to go in this sentence and where do we put it? Since grandfather is almost 80 years old, that would be the dependent clause. It's depending on the other part of the sentence. He is losing his hair. Which other punctuation mark do you have to put there and where do you put it? Or tell me where you're putting it first.
In between old and he?
Exactly. And you're putting it there because one is indicating where the dependent clause is and where the dependent clause ends and where the independent clause starts. So you're putting it between the old and between he. But what is the punctuation mark that you put in there? Which one of them?
Comma.
Exactly. A comma. You cannot use a semicolon here. Why? Because they are not both independent clauses. Remember, when you put since there, you already make one of them dependent on the other one. So you can't use a semicolon anymore. You can only use a comma. End of story, right? However, I'm going to ask you this other trick question now. If we had grandfather is almost 80 years old, comma, he is losing his hair, that would be which type of sentence error? I'm keeping it exactly as it is there, and there's a comma between old and he. So there's a sentence error where a comma is placed incorrectly. Let me go back and you can see it. What's it called? Good. See, it's coming back to haunt you again, right? So you think you got rid of me, but you didn't, because it's coming back to haunt you if I switch this around a little bit. All right, so let's go to this other one, either or, neither nor. So you've heard these words before, correct? So either is usually, not usually, either is always paired with, it's right on the board. Either is always paired with,
Neither.
look at it. What's the word next to either on the board?
Oh.
Or, right? So either always goes with or. And neither always goes with nor. Is that easy to remember?
Yeah.
Easy. All right, so let's look at the examples that we have there. And I've helped you out here by giving you the error and then the corrected version. So the error, the problematic sentence is, neither John nor his sisters has been invited to dinner. Let's try to understand what's going on here. Neither John nor his sisters has been invited to dinner. What's the problem with this sentence? We know it's problematic, but what is the problem?
Neither John nor his sisters were invited to the dinner.
Good. But what's the problem in the sentence, in the structure of the sentence?
It's too negative.
This is not the one with negatives, no. Look at that carefully. I'll give you a clue. If we had said neither John nor his sister has been invited to the dinner, that would have been correct. If we had said exactly what's there, but not how sisters is plural, if sisters was singular, it would have been correct. So what is the problem?
More than one person.
Good. Subject and verb agreement, right? So which word is the verb closest to? John or sisters? John. No. The verb is what? Let's identify the verb first. What's the verb in that sentence? Neither John nor his sisters has been invited to the dinner. What's the verb there? Has. Correct. Look at the word that is closest. Or you should know, in this case, closer. Closer to has. Is it John or sisters? Sisters. Remember subject and verb agreement that we did sometime back as well? If we're talking about sisters, it's more than one. So the verb cannot end with an S because sisters already ended with the S. So what should have been the verb there? Have, which would be the matching pair to sisters. So let's look at the corrected version. Neither John nor his sisters have been invited to the dinner, and in brackets you have it there. Sisters is plural and is closest to the verb, so plural verb is used. Correct? Let's see if we can find the error in the other one now. Neither the rebels nor the Myanmar government were prepared to negotiate. So let's identify the verb. What's the verb here? So rebels will be the noun or the subject. Myanmar as well, subjects, so those can't be verbs. So your options for verbs are were prepared to negotiate. Which one of them there is the verb? Were prepared, right? It's the whole thing, were prepared. So which of the two options is closest to were? Myanmar government or rebels? Myanmar government. Is it singular or plural? Singular. So if it's singular, then were should have been was. Excellent. So the problem here is the subject and verb agreement between these things. But it's not just the subject and verb agreement, it's the subject must match what is closest to the verb. So if we had said neither the Myanmar government nor the rebels war would have been correct because war would have been closer to rebels, which is plural. Did I hurt up your heads a little? No? All right, so in review now, we did these here today. We talked about sentence fragments, we spoke about double negatives, comma splice, few sentences, either or, neither nor, and some easy mistakes that you can make in this here. So let's do a quick review. We're going to start with Alicia first. Choose one of these and tell me how we can fix the problem or the error. The error that usually happens or sometimes happens or that people can easily make. Comma splice. All right, tell me in your own words, what is comma splice and how do we fix it?
Okay, comma splice is when a comma is placed incorrectly between two sentences. And we can fix it by adding a semicolon, which if only if the two sentences are
related.
And we can also change it by adding a conjunction.
Very good. A conjunction can be used there. Excellent. So I just want to put in a little sticky note on your stuff there too. Since we're talking about comma splice, there's a comma between, even though we know there should be two sentences, because there's a comma there, we can only call those two things on the side of the comma independent clauses, because a sentence would be, where the full stop is. So it's two independent clauses that is seen as one sentence, but really it should have been two sentences. So everything you said is correct, but just the wording I wanted to clarify a little, right? All right, Azaria, which one would you like to talk about?
Few sentences.
Few sentences. All right, tell me what is this and how do we fix it?
It could be more than one sentences. It could be fixed by using a full stop.
A full stop between the two.
A comma. Or
a comma, but only if you make one of them dependent on the other one.
Or
I'm going to help you. A full stop, a comma. Two more to go. Do you want to help Alicia? What's the other two she can use? A full stop, a comma if you're making one of them dependent. A semicolon because they're two independent clauses. Or a conjunction. Remember? I think the two of you chose the two that got plenty things to add to it. So that's good. That's good. We still did well. Proud of yourselves? Yeah. And given all the topics we did this term, what was the most exciting to you? And what was the most exciting to you?
I have nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting? I have failed as a teacher. I am hurt. Very hurt. Alicia?
Probably poetry.
You like the poetry part. Very good. I think my favorite was earlier this week where we get to talk about movies and books and popular people like Beyonce. So it didn't exactly feel like teaching. It was like fun, but still learning something while it was fun. So yeah, I think that was the most exciting thing for me because I don't think English should be boring. I think it should be interesting. So there are lots of rules and so forth, but like you can talk about literally anything and it can still be English based, right? You're just saying yes because I'm here, right? So yes, girls, I want to thank you for all your time and also thank the tech guys with us as well. So I'm gonna leave now and thank you so much for joining. I don't know when I will see you again, but over to the math teacher.
Good afternoon, students. How were you this afternoon? We good? Sure? So welcome to Critical Maths, and I am Miss Stewart. I'm filling in with you this afternoon, and I hope this afternoon session will be one of excitement and you will enjoy it. So what we're going to do is get into a little game. But before that, what I would like you to do is turn your chairs facing me. Good. So you're not to look back at the screen, and all you need is your device. You're going to use your device for a part of it. So we ready? Good. So this afternoon we're going to play a little game, and with the game we're going to be using a bingo. Let's share my screen. Don't look on the screen. Don't look back on the screen at all. So we have a bingo game, and I would have sent a link to you. What is the name of the bingo game? Any one of you? What you're seeing on your card?
Maths topic.
Pardon me? You could speak louder.
Maths topic.
That's what you're saying? Maths, a maths topic? What you're saying? Alicia, what are you seeing?
Mathematics topic.
Okay, mathematics topics. So basically, it would be the topics that you would have covered sometime during the course of this program, right? So, do we know how to play bingo? No?
No.
We don't know? Okay, let me introduce you to it. I'm going to call the topic, and I'm going to call the topic twice, sometimes thrice, right? And when I call the topic, you will look on your card that you would have selected to see if your card has the topic on it, right? If the topic is there, you will click on it. Click on any topic there that you have. What happened? Right, so that means that you would have selected the topic, right? How you can win. Okay, where's my marker? Let me get a marker. So you can win the game if you go across like this, any one of the lines, or you can win the game if your X's come straight down. So for instance, if you have X, 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 that means you would say bingo, right? So the first person that say bingo, that would be the person I will check to verify, and then you will win if it's correct, right? If your X's are like this, my marker is very light, sorry, you can get bingo also. Understood? Next thing, if my X is across here, you can get bingo. If it's across on this side, you will also get bingo. Not sure, the marker is not clear. Okay, I hope you understand in terms of the lines. We will get another marker to fix that. Okay, so could we start? Right. So first call, angles. Angles. If you don't have angles, don't press on any one of the other one for X to show up, right? We ready? Carefully listen. Directed numbers. Directed numbers. Directed numbers. Factors. Factors. You there with me?
Yeah.
Hexagon. Hexagon. Multiples. Multiples. Remember, you're looking for your x's in one line, right? Area of circle. Area of a circle. Fractions. Fractions. Octagon. Octagon.
Bingo.
Bingo. Okay, let's see. Let me view your card. Which one of the links you would have chosen? Could you remember?
No.
Card number 1. Card number 1. Okay. Let me see the line you're looking at. Right across. So I am saying heptagon and not hexagon. Right, so clear the second to last. Yes. Do you have HEX?
No.
Right, so that is incorrect. Okay, we will continue. So you still have a chance. Right, so let's go again. We continue, don't clear anything else. Heptagon. Heptagon.
Bingo.
So you had the opportunity to say bingo again, right? You're not waiting on me to say bingo for you. So you would have chosen card 1, 2? Okay, let me see if you clear it. Okay. All right. So Alicia would have won the first game of bingo, right? And those were, most of them were the topics that you would have covered, right? Name me one of the topics. Right, look on the card. Choose one of the topics that you would have covered in the program.
Angle.
Angles. Tell me something about the angles. Type something, anything that you would have learned.
An obtuse angle.
You have an obtuse angle.
Acute.
Acute angle. Okay, what about you, Alicia?
You have an,
Obtuse, acute,
and you also have a right angle.
right angle. Very well. Give me another topic.
Algebra.
Algebra. You're seeing algebra on your card?
Yeah.
Yes, there is algebra. The others that you probably would not have been familiar was just distractors on the card. So we had algebra. What about algebra?
Algebra, there may be words, which is also known as the letters, which
Okay.
is also, which may take the
So you would deal with letters and what else?
the value of the number.
Okay, and it can take the value of the number. All right, so you might see letters and you might see numbers in a problem that you have to solve. Right? Fair enough. What about you in algebra? Remember anything in algebra at all? Nothing in algebra? Oh my, so we'd have to go back and do some work, right? Could you remember changing statements, algebraic expression to statements, or statements to algebraic expression? For instance, 1 apple and 2 bananas. Instead of writing the words, we write it in the 1A plus 2b. Could you recall that? No? Okay, and I'm glad, because that is one of the things that you would learn continuing. Right? Anything else, Alicia? You could give me another topic?
Directed numbers.
Directed numbers. Tell me something about the directed numbers.
Directed numbers can also be known as integers.
As integers. Give me an example of the directed numbers. Think about it. Numbers, the integers. So we have the 1 plus negative 1, right? 5 plus 2. All of those are the numbers, and we're just adding or subtracting it, right? In that case, right? It can be positive and negative numbers together. Okay? All right. So, any topic you would want to share there? No? All right. So in this case, I would like you to get your book. Now, turn back your chair, get your book and your pen or pencil, whichever one you have. Turn it, turn it.
I forgot my book at the dance school.
Alrighty. Let me get to see if we can have markers. So we'll have to use the board as a book also. What do you think about that? Good. So we have working markers. So let's look at the screen. Great. So what we're going to do here, this is a game called Bamboozle. Bamboozle has many different sorts of games. You can find mathematics, any topic that you would like to use, you can find it here, right? So I'm not going to say which topics we're going to be looking at, but you're going to just choose a number. I will show you what is under the number. You will have to answer it, and if you get it correct, you get a point. Alright? Then we will see who wins. So we have team 1 and team 2. Remember these days where you have, and you want to play a game, and you say, pick a hand. Any one of you, pick a hand. This one?
Yeah.
Good. So that means you're starting. Right? So you're team 1. And Alicia is team 2. Right, Azaria? Team 1? Pick a number.
5.
5. Alright. So I'll show you 5. And you would have to use the board. Board. Put it on the board. Give me that one. Thank you. Write the answer bigger, larger. All right. Thank you. So 2 multiplied by 4 is equal to what according to Azaria?
8.
8. All right, let's check. Great. So Azaria, you would have gotten your first point, and you would have observed that team 1 have 15 points, right? Good. Azaria, this is your pen for you to keep hold. Yes, Alicia.
8.
8. All right. 6 nines. All right, thank you. Keep your own too. So you're saying that 6 nines equal to 54. Great. Let's go. Azaria.
10.
10. Okay. Okay. Let's go quickly. Faster we. Your time is counting. His time is counting. Okay, let's check our answer. Careful. 16, great. Alicia?
11.
11. Okay, ready? 6 eights, 48. Great. Doing well. Azaria?
2.
2. Go to first place, but right now you're tied. So you're still tied. Oh, actually you'll get extra points. So yes, Azaria. Alicia?
12.
12?
15.
15. Okay, good. So what you're going to do, you're going to stay on that one side when you go, and Azaria will come back over this side, so you don't have to go back and forth, right? Yes, Alicia, go on. Yes, yeah. Twenty multiplied by 5. Azaria, you want to take your place? All right. Stay there, stay there. Let's see if you're correct. 20 by 5. 100. Right? Because when we multiply 5 by 0 and 5 twos, 10. Yes. Same mistake. It happens. Right? Yes, Azaria, let's go.
7.
7. Go to first place again. You're such a lucky child. Alicia? 12. 9 multiplied by 3. 9 times 3. Okay, 27. Great. Give yourself a clap. Azaria?
14.
14. Great. 1 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 1. Okay, let's look at it. Great. 1 by 8 by 1 is equal to 8. Alicia? 16? 4 by 3, 4 times 3. 4 times 3, 12. All right, doing well so far, both of you. Azaria?
9.
Let me see if you lose some points now. 2 by 1. 2 by 1 equal to 2, all right? Great. Okay, you're kind of blocking your answers, but it's all right. Yes, Alicia? 4? 4. 5 by 2? 5 2's 10. Great. Azaria?
13.
13. Oh my, you are so blessed, child. Alicia? 3. 50 by 2. All right, 50 by 2, 100. That's correct. Azaria?
6.
6. 5 by 8. 5 by 8, 40. Okay, great. And Alicia? Pardon? 1, yes, only 1 available. 10 by 5. All right, 10 by 5, 50. Great. So both of you give yourself a clap. Thank you very much. So you can have your seats. And because both of you would have done so well, yes, Azaria would have gained some points without doing anything. But you would have equally answered your questions. No, actually you had one wrong. So yes, Azaria did pip you a bit, right? However, nothing is wrong with that. We would have covered the topics that you would have covered during the session. We did a few mental in basic multiplication, and you both will be awarded for this afternoon cooperation and participation $200 credit to your phone, right? So I'll send you the credit and you will be responsible for that. So thank you very much for this afternoon session. Did we enjoy it?
Yeah.
It's a little different, right? Not just bookwork all the time. And then you had an opportunity to write on the board, right? So do enjoy. Have a blessed rest of the holidays. And we will see you back when we let you know. Do enjoy. Good afternoon.